Yo, what up guys, my name is Yama and welcome to Living Life by Design with Amanda Machaga. This week we are joined by Penny Koetle. Penny is a senior specialist in the Information Privacy Office in MTN. She is also the MD of the Bokamoso Legal and Regulatory Consulting. She is a lawyer that wears so many hats, as she is a transformational coach and she is in the business of spreading love, as she is the founder of Agape Love Movement, something that she says she was born to do. Penny is a spiritual and emotional healer, as well as a transformational speaker. She is here to tell us how everything joined together has led her to her purpose. So join us.
Penny, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Life by Design.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, you do all of these things that I've just mentioned, and you're also a mother and a wife. And one wonders, how are you able to juggle all these?
It's living for a purpose, living for what fuels your desires and set your heart on fire. That's how I can do it.
Tell us, where did it all begin? Growing up in Mabopane, that is in the Gauteng province of South Africa,
Yes.
As a little girl, what did you want to do when you grow up?
When I grew up, I always had big dreams, but I couldn't quite understand what I wanted to do. So I was working in the dusty streets of Mabopane, looking for sponsors to go to university. I wanted to go to Durban Westville. I couldn't afford it. My mom was a domestic worker. So I decided that let me go to Vista University in Mamelodi. And I went there and opted to do law, which was not necessarily my first choice, but it opened doors for me.
Who advised you to do law?
It was something that came within, that I could really do this, because there was no career guidance during our time, and at school they didn't offer us that. So the only thing that we knew, it was teachers, nurses. And I think law was an automatic move for me, because it was something that it was not even in my family. Not many people in our community did it. So I thought I wanted to do something different.
So you'd say you found law by default?
It was by default. It was absolutely not by choice. Yes.
And as you were continuing studying, did you then find that you are actually on the right track? This is something that you see yourself doing for the rest of your life?
I thought that when I was doing it, I thought, you know what, I could do this. This could be a great career move for me. And I pursued it. I got admitted as a lawyer. Obviously, I worked at law firms. I even worked internationally at London, one of the biggest law firms in the world. And I thought my life was set. But there is that voice that kept on knocking in the door of my heart. You know what, you're not living for meaning. You could do better. You could help people. Because I always thought that, you know what, in life, we always have to also uplift other people. Based on the community that I came from, I thought, let me do something greater that can uplift little girls in Mabopane as well.
Speaking of the community that you came from, just paint a picture for us. What kind of upbringing did you have, and the background that you come from that made you want to venture into something that would then help others that are in that community?
So I saw a life of poverty. I saw a depleted community. I saw a place where dreams were not fueled. I had to tap within me and that voice, because they gave me a name. One of my name is Shadikgolo, which means great woman. So I've always thought that I need to live up to this name. So there was that calling that kept on calling me, which I didn't see in many girls and boys in the little streets of Mabopane. So that is what fueled my passion to live my purpose, so that I can uplift my community. So it was a life of lack. My mom was working domestic, left us to go and work in Johannesburg. So I just thought, you know what, let me uplift myself. I had a little sister, my sister, and let me start there in my community as I go along.
So when your mom was working as a domestic worker away from home, you and your little sister, who were you left with?
We were living with my aunt, and we basically also raised ourselves, because from an early age, I remember visiting my mom in Gauteng by ourselves, you know, getting into the bus, getting off at the stops in Calvin to go and visit our mom. So we literally raised ourselves as well.
So you had to literally figure things out yourself. How am I going to get education?
Yes.
And what is it that I'm going to do? I don't have anyone to talk to who's going to guide me.
Yes.
So you had to literally guide yourself to get to where you wanted to be.
Yes, and when I look back, it has to be the grace of God, because there was no way I could have done this at that early age by myself. So it was that little voice.
And again, one would say that because you lacked guidance, that would be one of the reasons why you would want to get into something that would guide others.
Absolutely.
Because you didn't have
Yes,
that.
yes. And looking back, I also thought that I would have done well in a career for teaching, because right now I excel in teaching others. So because of that lack, I gravitate towards wanting to help people to find their purpose, to live for a greater cause, because we just didn't come here by accident.
Yeah.
We came here for a greater purpose. Yes.
Was it difficult or easy for you to tap into your purpose? Here you were, an attorney working, was it a law firm?
It was a law firm.
Was it easy for you to find your purpose, your calling?
It wasn't easy. I moved from law firms and I worked at a corporate company. It was telecom. I think what helped me find my purpose is when I went through a terrible event in my life. When I went through the divorce, and I started asking, what is really my purpose? Why am I here? And I found myself at a place called the Inside Training Center, which is a place where they offer personal development. And that question was answered, but moving into it was a greater challenge for me, because I started to want to figure things out. When I started in my purpose, I didn't know how I'm going to do my purpose and also earn a living. So I thought I wanted to figure steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and I get there. And oftentimes, that's not how the divine works. You don't get a plan. You just see the end, but you don't know what happens in the middle.
So you were looking for healing.
Yes.
And in the process, you found what you were meant to do.
Yes, I collided into my purpose. But the greatest challenge for me is knowing who I am, knowing what I'm here for, and not being able to manifest. I think that's what caused a lot of hurt in my life.
Tell me, how were you able to get to answer those two questions? Who I am and what am I here for?
The voice came from within, but that place that I told you about, the Inside Training Center, provided a forum, an opportunity for me to tap within me and find that purpose. It is within each and every one of us to get to learn who we are and what are we here for.
Would you then also say that having practiced as an attorney and worked in the law firms that you worked in and went into corporate as well was a good foundation and guiding light, so to speak, to get you to where you wanted to be? The reason why I'm asking is that there are some instances, I believe, within where you worked that you were able to practice the thing that you wanted to do.
Yes, it was in my path to be at the places that I was at. Where I was manifesting who I am, even though I didn't know the methods, the techniques, the structure. I was coaching people and unaware that actually I could, this is my talent. I could do this for a living. So it was me being at the right place at the right time and starting where I am that fueled my passion.
So I've had people on the show that left vocations to pursue something that they're saying is a life of purpose.
Yes.
And I've had people that stay in a vocation and have a way of seeing how that vocation is in line with the calling that they are in. Which of the two would you say you fall under?
I fall under both. I've been in a job where I recognize that where I am, I'm meant to be there. And I did my purpose there. I've also went out of my vocation, the legal fraternity, and been on my own, building towards the life coaching that I now have today. And I think that is better because you're focused on that thing that you want to do. The downfall is that it's not giving you sustenance yet. So it's like you need to bring up this baby until it comes to a place where it can walk on itself. Then I went back to the workplace where now I'm refining and I'm seeing that there's also greater work to do in a workplace because there are a lot of hurt people. There are a lot of people who are living by default, who don't know who they are, and they thinking that where they are is where they're meant to be. This is why they are here on earth. They equate the titles that they hold in a workplace as in this is the best thing that life can offer for us.
So after the break, I want us to talk about how one can be able to actually make money out of the thing that they're called to.
Hi, I am Zozibini Tunzi, Miss South Africa 2019, and you are watching Life by Design with Amanda Machaga.
Welcome back to Life by Design right here on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. This is a program that inspires you to live a life of purpose. And today in studio, we are joined by Penny Koetle. She is a qualified attorney from South Africa. She is also a senior specialist in the Information Privacy Office at MTN. She is a life coach. She is the founder of Agape Love Movement. She wears so many hats and she's just a powerhouse, so to speak.
Amanda, I have to say it takes one to know one.
I'll take that as a compliment.
It is.
Now, Penny, before the break, we were talking about how people will compromise doing what they were called to do, to actually do something so as to make a living, to earn something. How do you think we can be able to, for a lack of a better word, monetize what
I like that.
the life of purpose is bringing to us, so that we don't find ourselves struggling and end up regretting pursuing the very thing that we know we're supposed to pursue?
Amanda, that's a very great question, because I also struggle with that. I'm still struggling and I'm getting to learn how to answer that question. Number one is that we have been taught from early ages that we need to go to school, we need to get education, and we need to work hard. So that's where we're starting from. We are not told at school that actually, you know what, there's a reason why you're here. You have forgotten why you came here. And as you go along the path of life, you will remember. So the momentum that we carry is that I need to work hard. I need to earn a living. I need to work for my pension. I need to work for medical aid, stuff like that. So we are accustomed to living life like that. So when God taps into our hearts that actually, you know what, let me remind you why you're here, there's that resistance that now we also believe that we cannot make money doing our purpose. And actually that's what I've discovered also as a transformation life coach. Because I've been coaching people for so long for free, I'm trying to reconcile how now do I charge for this service that I've been doing for free. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, you can't charge people for offering solutions. And I'm a specialist. I specialize.
That's actually a skill.
It's a skill. I specialize in helping my client find solutions for the stagnation in their lives. So what I can say is that do it bit by bit, one step at a time, until we remove also those beliefs that I spoke about, the negative beliefs, the limiting beliefs, what we were taught. Yes, we have to remove them so that we can shoot to the stars. But until we get there, we need to do it step by step, clearing one hurdle at a time. The life of transformation is like an onion or a tissue box. As you remove the tissues in the box, you start to remove all those blockages, all the limiting beliefs that limits us to shoot for the stars based on our maps, the conditioning, what we were taught when we were young.
And also for me, I think it's important to find a balance with what you have been using to earn a living, to feed into the thing that you know that you are meant to do.
Yes.
For instance, as an attorney, you could still consult, and people pay for those services.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is the side that brings in your income.
Yes.
And while you figure out how the other side can bring in money as well.
And remember, that attorney career, it was by default. So I came to a place where actually this is not what I want to do. You know what? I could give it up at any time. But I find myself at a stage where, because I'm doing what set my heart on fire, I can still do this thing that is also giving something into my life.
Now, the reason why we have the show is to help inspire somebody out there who's listening, who is saying that I don't know what my purpose is. I
Yes.
don't know what I'm called to do. And you mentioned two important things, that you need to know who you are and what you came here for.
Yes.
How do you ask yourself, who am I, and who do you ask? Because if you don't know who you are, who's going to answer that question for you?
Exactly. So in my life, I started with a failure, like I say. I think it's in us human being. Until we are forced into doing things we don't do, we just live life as if we are here forever. So the thing that starts us is to ask the most important question. Like when you're going through a situation, like I mentioned, a divorce, I didn't sit there and say, why me? And I don't even know where that knowledge came from me that I need to ask the relevant question. If you ask the wrong question, you will get the wrong answer. When you ask the right question, you will get the right answer. Like I ask, what am I here for? If I fail in this, what then?
What is this here to teach me?
Yes.
And what can I get out of
Exactly.
it that's
Yes.
going to change my life?
Yes, and then from there, God listens. The answer will come. In my case, it came in a workplace, in a place where I didn't even imagine going to a job can help me discover my purpose. Actually, my company paid for me to go to that place where I discovered my purpose. Yes.
So there are many ways that one can get to answer that question.
Yes.
I remember we had a young lady on the show who discovered her purpose through a very painful experience similar to yours. Yours was a divorce. Hers was she went through a process where she had to be a sex worker just to put food on the table. And now she finds herself rescuing young sex workers. And she knows that's what she was meant to do. That's what she was called for. So sometimes the life experiences that you go through will direct you towards the thing
Absolutely.
that you were meant to do.
Absolutely. Like we come here and then it's like there is that we are covered from knowing firstly where we come from. And I mean, I think it was Agape Love who said the most important question that a human being can ask is, who am I? So we come with that amnesia of where we come from when we come here, and we get consumed by this world which is so visible in the five senses. We get accustomed to what we see, how we feel, how much I can earn, the five senses. And we forget about the sixth sense, which is the spiritual sense. And when life happens, it jacks us into remembering who we are. Unfortunately, that's how we learn as human beings.
Now, the center that you went to, how did it help you answer the second question of what am I here for?
They offer workshops, Turning Point and Joy Spring. When we are in that setup of the workshops, the games and the methodology is their system that they have produced. You yourself, you go internally inside of yourself. No one is going to tell you, Amanda, this is who you are. You are going to get that discovery and you're going to say it for yourself. So they offer the environment for you to tap into who you are, and then you manifest it by yourself.
It says here that you are a transformation speaker,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What does this entail?
This entails that when I speak, I put myself there. Agape love is the love of God that He offers to everybody, but not all of us receives it, because He offers it to everybody. For us to receive it, we have to be in alignment with Him and receive it. Then He speaks to the depth of our hearts. So when I put myself there, when I put Penny, who I am, there on a platform and speak to people, I evoke in the people that being that they are. I tap into that. That is my intention. And that is my purpose when I say I'm a transformational speaker.
So it comes from the movement that you started,
Yes.
which is Agape Love Movement.
Yes.
So are you telling people that the source of everything and where they need to go and consult is within themselves?
It is within.
The love that they have.
It is within. It is. You cannot find it on the external. That is how I struggled in church, because the preachers would say in the pulpit, you must love this, that you must love God, you must do this, you must meditate on the word of God. And I will sit there and ask, show me how. What does this entail? I want to do it. Tell me the steps to do it. Then I will do it. The answer is not external. It is inside.
It is within.
Yes.
Now, the subject of love is a very broad subject.
Yes.
How do you narrow it down to help people get to the level of transformation that they need?
I level it down to that one love, that agape love, that we see people through the eyes of source. That's the one love that we can narrow it down. Unfortunately, it has been so overrated, love. It has lost meaning. So with my movement, I'm also putting meaning back, because love is a fundamental principle of this earth. Love gave birth to everything in our earth, but it is so devalued because it's equated with little things like I love ice cream, I love water, I love chocolate cake. So that is love being minimized. But I'm talking about that unconditional love of God, the love of God that sees beyond any fault.
And taking it to our African context, as Channel Africa, we broadcast to the entire continent. And we know that our continent, beautiful as it is plagued by so much violence, so much injustices and all of that. How can we use the concept of love to help heal our African people?
Yeah, it says that love conquers everything. Love forgives. With love you can forgive. It is just by being who you are, actually, for people to see the love that is within. Because we're supposed to bear witness to the love of God. We're supposed to be testimonies. I can't tell you to love if I'm not loving, because you're not going to see it, you're not going to feel it. So if I start to live it, it is possible to conquer things with love.
Mm-hmm. So the love of self?
The love of self.
Extended to others.
Yes.
All right. After the break, we'll talk more to Penny.
Hello, this is Tshofatso August Modiga Powers, and you're watching Living Life by Design with Amanda Majola.
Welcome back to Life by Design right here on Channel Africa, the African perspective. My name is Amanda Majola, and today on the show we are joined by Penny Koetle, a qualified attorney from South Africa who is also a transformation life coach. She is the founder of Agape Love Movement, and she's telling us about how she is doing everything at once, being an attorney, a life coach, a love doctor, and how she is living a life of purpose, making sure that all of these she's able to do. And on the line right now, we are joined by her best friend, Ntsiki Majola, our surprise guest. Ntsiki, welcome to Life by Design, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, Amanda. Hello, Penny, and hello to the listeners.
Thank
Hello,
you for
my
taking this
friend.
time. Now, Ntsiki, tell me, as a friend of Penny, how did you take it when she said that she doesn't necessarily feel like she was called to be an attorney, but she actually wants to be a life coach? Was that something that you expected to hear from her?
Yeah, it was. It was. I think she's been my life coach for the past 8 years. So I've seen her in action. I've seen her compassion for humanity and to see people better their lives. So it didn't come as a surprise.
And how were you able to then support her, having said that? Because I'm sure that it wasn't easy, and she mentioned even earlier that it's not an easy journey. What kind of a support system are you to her as a friend?
Yeah, she can attest to that. I'm a very good friend and I support her all the way. I'm her best cheerleader. I cheer her on with everything that she does in life. And also another thing, she's very detailed. So she'll sit me down and tell me step by step what she intends to do and what her end goal is. So it becomes very easy to support someone like that who is very open and who shares quite a lot about her life.
Her story is very inspirational, Ntsiki, and I'm sure you would agree to that. And not many people are able to just brave things like she did. What would you say to a listener out there who is finding themselves in a challenge where they don't know if they should leave what is giving them money to pursue something that they know that they are called to do? How do they navigate those fears?
Yeah, it's not an easy one. It's a very difficult decision. Considering that Penny is a mother, she's a wife, and she's a daughter to her mom and her father who are still alive. So being in that financial situation where you have people who depend on you and depend on your monthly income, pursuing your dreams and living your life purpose is very challenging. But my advice to the listeners and my advice to Penny was juggling and diversifying your income. So if you've got a degree like Penny has, she studied law and she's a very good attorney, rather diversify and juggle the different aspects of your life and try to balance and find time for everything. So pursuing your dreams in your prime time while also ensuring that those who are financially dependent on you, even yourself, because, we need money to survive on a daily basis. Try to balance the two. And I've seen her doing that. I think what drives her is her life purpose, but also being a mother and wanting to take care of her family is also what sustains her in the corporate world, because it's not easy waking up in the morning and going to a workspace where when you know that you don't belong there, you belong out there touching people's lives.
That is some serious business to deal with right there, and serious talk. How do you girls have your fun time? Because I believe that it's important for us as women, living our lives by purpose, sacrificing so much, that we have our downtime. What are the things that you make sure that she doesn't miss out on as a good friend?
She doesn't like shopping that much, so we go shopping once in a while. We go to spas. We went to a spa, I think, about a month ago, just to get massages and be pampered. And we also enjoy going out with the kids. And she keeps telling me that she's brave and she's adventurous, but I don't believe that because she's scared of water. I don't believe that, yeah.
Now, Ntsiki, she's teary because you've touched something, I'm sure, that evokes emotions. What would you encourage her with to make sure that she is ready for the road ahead? I'd like to believe that it's not a bumpy ride all the way. There's going to come a time where she sits and she looks back and she says it was all worth it. How would you encourage her to hold on and know that it's going to get better?
I believe that there is a universal hand, that when we submit our dreams and our plans and our life purpose to that universal hand, orchestrates a certain path for us to take. And I believe that will happen in her life. Whatever resources that she needs for her to fulfill her dreams, I believe that when your dream is connected to a higher purpose, that universal hand provides. So that's the advice I normally give her. And when times are tough, I always remind her of that. That with the Agape Love Movement, with her life coaching business, with everything else that she needs to do. You know, when you're doing something for the greater good of humanity, I believe there is a creator of that humanity that will sustain you and provide the resources that you need. And another thing, we as women, we tend to put our children, we tend to put our husbands and everybody else first, and we prioritize them because we are givers by nature. But I always tell her that she must put to Penny first. She is important. She is needed beyond the space of her family and her home.
Thank you so much, Ntsiki. Those are words of wisdom indeed. And with a friend like that, I'm sure Penny is set for higher and greater things in life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda. And I love you so much, Penny.
I love you too, my friend.
All right.
Thank you. That is just so beautiful.
7 years I met this. It's probably not 7 years, 8 years ago, in a workplace again. We met at New Hotel, and our friendship hit it off from the beginning. And she has been that wind beneath my wings. She has been very supportive. I think I am where I am today because of her influence in my life. That is why I'm tearing.
And she's just been cheering you on.
She is my greatest cheerleader. Whenever I set, like, she runs the Agape Love Movement with me, I just have to say, my friend, we're doing a conference. And she will say, what do I need to do? Do you need money? Do you need to book a venue? She is very supportive. And sometimes we arrange, we're going to say, we're going to have so-and-so to be the MC, and people don't pay. She's always willing to step in. She is a sister born from love. Yes.
What would you say is the importance of having that kind of a support structure to somebody who's listening to your story and is thinking, I think now I know what to do, but I don't know, how am I going to, go about it? How important is it to be able to identify somebody who's going to walk the journey with you?
Amanda, I cannot stress the importance of having cheerleaders in your life. In life, the nature of humanity, we don't cheer, especially women, we don't cheer ourselves up, we don't cheer each other up. So when you find a resource like that, it's a resource to keep. But you cannot attract people who are going to cheer you if you're not your greatest cheerleader. You have to be your greatest cheerleader first. We were taught never to say about ourselves that we are good or we are perfect. Tell ourselves that, look at yourself in a mirror, tell yourself how good you are, how perfect you are. Then you will attract people who will manifest that physically in your life. It is very important. When you are down, when you have someone like Shelly, when I have someone like Shelly in my life, who's not even willing to give me words and is even willing to go above that and give you finances to do that which sets your heart on fire, that is priceless.
You've started your life coaching business. I'm going to call it business because
Yes.
has to bring in
Yes, it has
money.
to, yeah.
You started a life coaching business. You are in the Agape Love Movement, and I know it's in the early stages.
Yes.
What vision do you have of these two going forward?
I think these two, Agape Love Movement, I see it more as a giving. It's not something that I can make money from. So the coaching business is the one that is going to bring the resources. So I see myself doing larger scale, like healing, larger healing through Agape Love Movement. And coaching is like more of your corporate clients and those, one-on-one and maybe group coaching as well, where I can make the finances to run this one.
To that person that says, okay, I hear Penny's story, I'm inspired, I want to do something as well, what's the first step?
The first step is to give birth, see a vision, put down what you want, not only write it down. The Bible says, see the end from the beginning. The end is the beginning. See it, the vision, write it in a positive way, in a first person way. Like, if you want to be a life coach, I am so grateful that I see myself as a life coach, or I am a person who designs solutions for my clients. Even before it happens, you need to give birth to it internally before you can see it manifest. So have the vision first. That's the first step. And when you have the vision, see it every day, nurture it. You planted a seed like the farmer does. They plant a seed and they water it. It's exposed to the sun. It's exposed to the right elements. And whenever you find yourself being negative about it or lacking belief in what you are trying to give birth to, correct yourself, receive feedback and correct yourself and move on with it until it manifests.
See the end from the beginning, and that's what's going to keep you going.
Yes. Yes,
Thank
don't
you.
worry about the stuff in the middle. That's not yours. The stuff in the middle is the stuff that God the divine excels in. You can't bother yourself with that in the middle. When I just see your vision, set goals. Every week, set goals. And the goals that you set is the goals that will set you apart from the vision that you have created. It's a step-to-step action towards manifesting your goal. Like, for example, I set the goal of creating this business for coaching. Then, in a week-by-week steps, I fuel my goals to market it. So that is what is going to set it apart.
So where can people get hold of you? Either be it for legal advice, for life coaching. We still don't want to get you out of the legal.
I've got a website, Bokamoso legal website, and they can get hold of me on my cell number 083-786-7391. And for the life coaching, there's a website, www.resultscoach.co.za.
www.resultscoach.co.za.
Yes.
And the number is +2783
786
786
7391.
Yes. And on social media, are you available?
Yes, I'm available on social media as Shadi Penny Koetle.
That's SHADI Penny Koetle.
Also on Instagram. It's the same name.
Thank you so much. It's been an inspiring story indeed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sis Amanda, for having me in your show, and thank you for the nice surprise. I didn't expect that.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it.
This has been Life by Design on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Let's connect on Facebook, Living Life by Design, and on Twitter, it's at living_life by design, as well as on Instagram at living_life by design. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube as well. We have a channel there. It's Living Life by Design with Amanda Majola. From myself, Amanda Majola, producer Yamintle Nyama, and technical producer Wiseman Manqele. Thank you for listening, and remember, you are the architect of your life.